Hello and welcome to another Bulblog video diary supplement. I walk around the garden in early afternoons, just after 1 o'clock on the 29th of February, so it's a leap year, the extra day in February. And it's cool, the sun's breaking through at times. The crocus, this is Crocus thurkianus, used to be Gargaricus herberti, and then it was herberti and now it's thurkianus, growing here with the Eranthis, an iris, Cyalamen Germany, and the snowdrops, and all the other plants. Crocus is just thinking of opening. If I take my little temperature gauge, .7, it's about 6 degrees is the temperature I reckon they open at. So they're just thinking of opening, but it's not warm enough yet. And if we move round, we can come across the sand bed that's now the moss covered sand bed with all the lovely cyclamen comb. Really pretty. I'm really pleased to have comb growing here. It's struggled to get it growing in the garden. Just turn round, we've got Galanthus Warrenoi, the yellow one, the Elizabeth Harrison, which is interesting. That one's been there and out for some time, but I know I've got some other bulbs in here, and look, in the sand they're only just coming through now, so it shows you the difference, that the growing medium and where they grow, they're barely 50 centimetres apart, but growing at different times. And if I come up here, there's some more crocus. These are a bit more opened, Crocus thomsonianus, so let's just get a reading here. It's just showing 4.8. Yep, so it's still too cold for the crocus to open properly. Look up the garden, we'll head off up to this area here. We come round past, I'm not going to look in not going in the bulb houses, but as I walk past you can see there's still an awful lot in flower and more opening all the time in the bulb houses, but we'll have a look at those another time. It's while the weather's reasonably nice, we'll have a walk around the garden. So the Hepatica transylvanica opening. There's been flowers there for a while now. You can tell that by the way some of them are really chewed and battered. Across you'll see the creamy Corydalis malcensis. Lots of different snowdrops. Groups down here you can see very clearly the difference between the leaves of the plicatus and the narrow leaves of the nivalis. Different ones around the hellebores. Walking round past the sand bed, which is now the cobble bed, you get this lovely view where my river rises, my yellow river. The trough's just starting, some of them to waken up. Come round. Just the very first signs of Primula marginatus. Flowers opening. The slab beds, just the early bulbs in flower in there. I can see why the crocuses don't want to open. It's really quite a bitter wind, that's freezing. Although it's not literally freezing, the wind chill's making it pretty cold. And the erythronium beds, the very first. This is always one of the first here of the Erythronium dens canis. Very dark leaves and very dark flowers on this form. Seeded into Erythronium beds are the Corydalis malcensis. Iris Catherine Hodgkins has got in here as well. So we move round and see the snowdrops and the hellebores. Crocus is coming. Fritillaria imperialis, they're coming. Molly, she's coming. You going to come? Come and tell hello. Molly. Come on. That's a girl. Pose for the people. Say hello, everyone, to Molly. So the nice hellebores. It's just such a good time because all this has sprung up and the garden's so dynamic just now. There's so much just pushing through. And this is the first wave. When you think we're now going to get so many more sequences of flowering bulbs and plants coming through. Big clumps of snowdrops. Some colchicum leaves. The leaves come up now, of course they flower in the late summer, early autumn. Let's move round and up the path, these beds with the leucojums, and have a spin round. Eranthis seeding around here as well, being encouraged. There's Corydalis malcensis seedlings, and then there's Corydalis caucasica. This is a little one here, is caucasica. Really nice, and some of them flowered quite early. Look, you can already see the seed pods forming. Because this little caucasica is a bit like malcensis. It seeds itself around, it doesn't make clumps. It just seeds gently around the garden. So moving up, some of the big Dutch crocus, the big Vernus, related to Vernus, so you get the deep purple, the quite white, and then the stripy one, all growing here through, along with the cyclamen and golds, bolden grass. Come around here, there's another little group of snowdrops. These are more yellow marked snowdrops. You can see how I like to plant. When I split a clump, I don't plant clumps, I like to plant them out individually. And that's the way I prefer it. I wish they would stay sort of more like that and not form the great congested clumps. I think it's nice to see them like that. Crocus seeding out on the edge of the path. And the Narcissus bulbicodium seeded here right on the edge of the path. So as we move up and round, we come in, we can look back down here from a really nice Leucojum vernum with the Carpathican type with the yellow ovaries. Some have got yellow tips, some have got yellow ovaries. Looking down you can see the mass flowering just now. Come on then Molly, we'll go up this way. So we'll go through this bit to the pond. Over there, one of the dwarf elm with Corydalis malcensis seeded in amongst it. It's always the most advanced of the Corydalis to be in flower around the garden. So the pond looking very green with the duckweed and the bonsais. And round here the new bed by the pond, you can see all the Ramondas, different forms of Ramonda. This Hepatica has been out for a while. Eranthis, I think all the Eranthis in this bed are Guinea Gold. Narcissus cyclaminius coming there. Down here we've got, this is Eranthis pinnatifida. And there's more, these flowered, look, I'm hoping to get seed pods there. Get good seed. And there we have some Erythronium, that's Caucasicum, and over here a little group, that's a very nice form of Erythronium dens canis, and there's lots of Sabericum in here as well. There's quite a lot of leaves that are single leaves, so no flower, not big enough to flower, because I planted a lot of seedlings out in here. So that's the bed. Up here I'm always looking where we, a lot of Erythroniums and Trilliums to come up here, but only we're just starting. If I come right down, starting to see the Trilliums pushing through. Just the first signs, and here's some Erythroniums just starting to come through. Another wee group just there. These ones under the shelter of the tree, slightly more advanced. But soon this entire area will just become a carpet of sea of pink. So this is the new bed beside the pond that I often mention and write about in the bulb blog, full of little treasures. The Ramonda trough. And then the new plantings, quite sparse. There's snowdrops in here. When I split some down in the last couple of years, I've been planting a lot up here. But because we're at the shaded side, the south end of the garden, it's facing north. It's colder up here, so they're a bit later. And also I find when you lift and split snowdrops, the year after you lift and split them, they often flower a wee bit later. They just settle in better. So that combined with the colder shaded area. So let's move round. More Erythronium, Caucasicum coming there. Lots of Crocus at the side. It's a cluster of Thomasinianus. More Colchicum leaves. More Hellebores, sort of creamy yellow. Come round, so various Hellebore seedlings. They just are. I mean, look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? And what do we see when we look inside these wonderful deep dark flowers? So you've got very dark one there with quite dark leaves. This one here is quite plummy with green leaves, and this is what it does as it comes out, so really pretty. But they're just seedlings. Here's a snowdrop with the green tips. Little group there. It's another seedling of the Hellebores, even darker. Very dark. group of Crocus which did open the other day. It got warm enough for them. As I say, if it gets up to 6 degrees they open. If it's below that they tend to stay shut. And round here we can look back down to where I started this video, just across there, near the sculpture and the other bulb houses. Down here, possibly as good a place to finish off. This is Galanthus mighty atom here, with the Eranthis that been out for a while and now the flowers fading. You can see seeds forming there. Cluster of seedlings that have fallen into the path. We'll watch with hand weeds, so there's one we don't want, one of these creeping willow herb type. You can always tell it's got these fat white roots. Here's another one here. We'll just get them out because I don't want them. I really don't want, I like wildflowers and plants, but I really don't want this too much. So there we go, I'm going to finish here. So with the Galanthus mighty atom. So that's done. Thanks for joining me and Molly. Molly, say goodbye. Thank you very much. Bye. Thanks for joining me again. Speak to you next time.